but it's not, I wouldn't say it's a waste because it does give you a lot of necessary. Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my TEFL certificate. So I've recently noticed that my video on how I got my TEFL got quite a lot of views, and I kind of just wanted to make a better video, and I want to talk about whether or not it's worth getting a TEFL and whether or not it's helped me with my teaching and stuff, because there are a few things I want to talk about. I recently watched one of, I think his name is Ninja Teacher's videos, and he talked about whether the TEFL is worth it, and there are a few things that I disagreed with him about that I'm going to talk about now. But anyway, so I got my TEFL, so teaching certificate, at the University of Cape Town in South Africa, and I did it through the English Language Center. So I spoke about this in my previous video. But I did an in-person teaching course, and it was a very thorough, very difficult course, and I learned so much about lesson planning and just different teaching techniques that really helped me later on with my actual teaching. But what I do want to say is, when you're actually teaching in Asia, wherever you are, whether it's in China, South Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, every school is completely different and every system is different. So you have to learn everything from scratch anyway when you start at a new school and when you get a new job. And a TEFL is quite a standard way of learning and of lesson planning. It's a very specific way. Obviously there are different types of TEFL courses you can take, but it's a very specific type of teaching. It's not necessarily going to equip you with the skills to teach at whatever school you're going to be teaching at. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's a waste, because it does give you a lot of necessary skills, especially the in-person one. I think it gives you the confidence, because teaching can be quite a scary thing when you've never taught before, and I think it teaches you how to actually interact with people, with students, and with whatever age they are. It actually teaches you well, it gives you that little first step of confidence, I think, in my opinion, to teaching. So where I disagree with Ninja Teacher, he says he thinks that the in-person teaching TEFL is, you know, it's pointless, because depending on what job you need, you don't always need a TEFL
certificate, and you can just
do it online. But I do think that the in-person teaching certificate is necessary and is very helpful. Anyway, and then there's also, you can also do the teaching your TEFL online, and that's way more theory, and it's a lot cheaper. So it's just up to you. Not every school in Asia, especially Hagwons in South Korea, need a TEFL. So you don't necessarily need a TEFL certificate. You basically just need to be fluent in English, and you need a degree. And your TEFL is just kind of showing your future employer that you've taken that necessary step to actually improve your teaching. And obviously it's always a plus, you know, whatever you can add, whether it's experience or certifications on your CV is always an extra and always a value add. So I wouldn't say it's a waste at all. Depending on what your budget is, I think obviously go with what you can afford. I wouldn't say I applied a lot of what I learned to when I actually taught in South Korea, but I mean, you can check out the video of me talking about my teaching experience, because I had to learn everything from scratch about how they wanted me to teach. And also when I did my TEFL in person, I taught a very specific age of students. They were a lot older, and obviously each age group and each type of student is completely different, and you need to adapt your teaching style to them. So yes, the TEFL equips you, but only to an extent, and you can very easily not have a TEFL and go teach. You know, the minimum requirements are a degree and for you to be a native English speaker from one of the countries required. I do think my salary was slightly higher because I had my TEFL, so you can negotiate and say, you know, look, I have a TEFL, I have a degree, I have this and this, I have experience, and you can kind of negotiate your salary. You know, everything's negotiable. That's the businessman in me talking. But it's really up to you what your budget is. Also, maybe before you even do a TEFL, speak to a few recruiters and schools and see whether or not the school you're actually interested in does require a TEFL, because a lot of schools don't actually require a TEFL. I mean, they're saving money. If you're less qualified and you can still teach, if you're still an English native speaker, maybe they'll want to hire you more than someone who's more qualified than you, if that makes sense to you. If you go through EPIC, I think they do require TEFL. So it depends on the school you're trying to apply for. But what was I going to say? Oh yes, I was going to say some schools require a minimum of 120 hours teaching experience, which the in-person TEFL does give you. And there are also other types of teaching certifications you can get. The TEFL isn't the only one, and also the TEFL isn't always internationally recognized, as I understand. So let me know if you have any more questions about the teaching certificate in particular, and about the course itself. My website, you also, what's cool about when I did the in-person teaching certificate is that they made us make like a Google site just to summarize, you know, who we are, what kind of teacher we are, etc, etc. But that's all. If you guys have any more questions, just let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. I'd really appreciate it. Give me a like, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.
I'm yours.